Well, we made it up to our destination. Tom ended up buying a gigantic tent, but we got it most of the way set up. We're going to finish setting it up tomorrow when it's light out and a little bit easier to tell what we're doing. Apparently the vestibule here will be fully enclosed, but otherwise we're going to make some dinner and get stuff packed up and go to bed and get up early and go after some trout. I'll give you guys a little peek on the inside. We've got our cooking set up here, reheating some meals, bringing some pre-cooked, and all we have to do is reheat, so makes it a little easier in some instances. And then on the interior here we'll have all the cots. We got a couple in the back. I don't have a cot, so I'm going to be sleeping on the ground. We've got our wood stove going, and it's warming up pretty nicely in here. We also got a little buddy heater going somewhere, just to kind of give it a little bit of extra warmth. But yeah, so far it's shaping up to be a nice camp. Well, we survived the night. Dad and I ended up setting up our tent, even though Tom's palace is certainly big enough to support all of us. We ended up bringing the little arc oven, and we're going to set that up. Sleep in there. I've never been in that one. Dad set it up once, but that's really the only reason, and it gives us a little more space to keep the table there and have the kind of group meals and stuff. We got some water from the lake. Gonna be melting that, boiling it for some drinking water, wash water. We got the vestibule here with the cooking set up, all the utensils and the 2-burner stove, so we'll continue to just cook in there. It's just a little walk down to the lake, and we can go fishing for some trout later today. And then this is Dad and I's tent for the next couple of days. Again, didn't really need to set it up because we could certainly fit in that other tent with plenty of room. But we had it here, we brought it out, and I've never used it, so kind of wanted to set it up and give it a shot and see. So we've got our own little vestibule area here. And then on the inside, I ended up just giving away my cot since it was pretty heavy. It was a nice cot, but it was pretty heavy. Gave it to a friend of mine in Alaska before I moved. And Dad's got his cot set up, so he'll be sleeping on that. I've got a couple of nice pads, so I'll stay plenty warm regardless of the temp. Stove in the middle, although really I think we'll just light a little bit of a fire in the evening, a little bit before bed, kind of a small one, let it warm up, and then won't worry about heating it from there. So I've certainly seen these tents. I know we had this one, but I haven't had the opportunity to use it. But it's a pretty slick setup. Pretty nice unit. We've got a couple of the spots guyed out, and then just pack some snow around the bottom there to keep it out. But anyway, that's home away from home for the next couple of days.
So we're out here this afternoon, setting up alongside.
That's where the break is.
We're in 40 some feet of water right now, looking for the breaks. Give it a try here for a while, from a shallower depth to a deeper one, and see if we can find some lake trout in this area.
Cliff underwater, and it flattens out. And the fish like to hug the edge of that, right at where it bottoms out, right before it breaks up.
So we want to go in there.
Yep.
And so, that thing fell over. Do you want to use the power auger to dig some more holes?
David's drilling a bunch over there now with the hand. Is that thing hurting your shoulder?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. No.
Well, here it is, day 2, Sunday. We're gonna head out, try and see if we can find some lake trout. Yesterday, I think I had 2 bites. The guys were graphing some fish, but not really, getting any bites. So it was a little tough yesterday. Now today, it's a little more breeze, but it's coming out of the south, so it's kind of warm. But whenever there's a breeze, it makes it a little tough. So we're gonna go out and see if we can find maybe a little bit of a sheltered area to fish in and see if we can capture a trout. But it's fishing, so you never know what's gonna happen.
All right, first fish of the trip. Dad pulled a small laker. I guess it's encouraging considering yesterday we didn't get anything. We hoping it was been a little bit bigger, but we're down in 70 foot, so I think kind of whatever we end up pulling up is probably going to have to be kept. So that might be one that we keep whole and maybe try smoke it or something. But again, first fish of the trip, and it's always fun to at least get one. Well, we made it back from fishing. Dad ended up catching the one small laker and one nice walleye, both of them in 70 feet of water. Now we're just getting a fire going. The other guys brought a house out, so they're going to stay out a little bit longer and see if they can't get something else. David caught a nice walleye, again 70 foot of water, and one little smelt, but they hadn't got any lake trout yet. So they're going to keep going. We're going to get the big house heated up and relax a little bit. Kind of just enjoy the last night. Gonna get a fire going in our little tent too, so we dry some stuff out. It'll get a little warmer in here. So we've just been using a couple of pieces of fat wood, and then one of our Northern Sparks fire starters, which is basically a piece of paper towel tubing or toilet paper tubing, and some shredded up newspaper, and then they soak it in paraffin wax. We got our little stack of firewood here. We haven't hardly had to use very much since the stove is quite efficient, and this tent is pretty small, so it only takes a few logs to get her going. So that should get this nice and toasty. We've got a line here to hang some stuff if we want. From there, some smaller items, just our little lantern, and then they've got some loops in the corners of this tent, and I just ran a little bungee cord through that loop, and I've got my boreal shirt there and some wintergreen pants hanging, so those will drip. I just moved my bed, folded it up out of the way. That way anything that melts off there will just drip on that and hopefully kind of evaporate before I need to worry about it. And even if so, that's a closed cell foam pad, so it doesn't matter too much. I can just throw that over some of the wet or damp ground, and then my pad over the top of that, my air pad over the top of that, and then the sleeping bag, that Wiggy's bag. So staying plenty warm in here, no doubt about that. So we'll just let this keep cranking, add maybe a couple more pieces, and after this burns down just a bit, then we should be good to go.
Well, we just fired up the Coleman lantern, my new one. Anyway, this is the first time I've used it on a trip, so the other two we used last night, a couple of antiques, and they were starting to create a couple issues, so I pulled my new Coleman out. Steven's trying to hydrate himself a little bit. That's one thing when you're out here winter camping, you don't realize how much moisture moves through your body, even though you're not hot and sweaty and stuff, but it's pretty important to make sure you drink a lot of fluids, and not alcoholic beverages, but water and that. David got worn out catching his walleye, so he's taking a little nap, and the other guys ran in to the vehicles to pick something up and head back to camp. So this is our last night here, Sunday night. So we'll have a good evening here in the tent, and whether we fish some in the morning or not, we'll see what the weather's like and how anxious everybody is to start packing up all our gear and start some trips back and forth to the vehicles. But it's been a good trip so far. Fishing hasn't been great, but it's not always about catching fish. It's more about the company and enjoying the experience.
Well, it's the last day. We're getting everything broken down. Got the tent all tucked away, all our gear packed up. Tom, Jerry, and David are going to work on getting the big tent broken down, and then pack up and take a few snowmobile runs out, and that'll be the end of the trip. Sounds like they'll possibly be taking another trip in a couple of weeks and head out, but all that remains is a spot without any snow and some memories, I guess. So thanks for coming along and checking out this little adventure. Fishing wasn't great, but we managed to snag a few. Hopefully it'll improve if we come out in a couple of weeks. But either way, it was a fun way to spend a few nights. So thanks again. If you enjoyed the video, certainly like, subscribe, comment, and hang out for more adventures to come soon.